This is ridiculous, man. All right, there we go. Okay. I don't know why I keep having audio issues, but welcome in. Hope you guys are happy. um, well, I mean, I told you guys that I felt pretty confident that Bobby Wagner was going to go to the Rams, but here we are. He's officially a member of the LA Rams on a 5-year, $50 million deal, a lot longer than I expected. Now let's be honest here. Let's be honest. It's not going to be 5 years. It's probably going to be some void years on there. But this is a big deal. It's a big deal that they got him on a long-term deal. Even if it's 3 years that he plays on that 5-year deal, I mean that's pretty big. But just hats off to the Rams for not being afraid to make this aggressive move. I mean, this is a team that may not have considered it in the past, but I think this is a combination of the fact that, well, we've talked about it for a while, and we've talked about the fact that, you know, at the end of the day, the Rams really do care about draft picks and they care about compensatory, but you're not getting a great compensatory pick anymore with the way things have happened. I mean, none of those Rams picks are going to be even in the fourth round. So I think it makes sense to not really worry about the compensatory pick. I think this Bobby Wagner move says a lot. I mean, now you have him, you have Ernest Jones. It's a big deal in my opinion. I definitely think it's a big deal. You can say star-studded all you want. You can say, whatever. But, I mean, the fact of the matter is right now, Bobby Wagner is with Aaron Donald and Jalen Ramsey. And that is the best trio on any defense, I think, that you could argue in the league. This is a big deal. Really big deal, actually. So, just credit to the Rams. Credit to my source who said that he was absolutely going to the Rams. That's why I was pretty confident. When the Ravens stuff happened, they made a good push, but it sounds to me like, he was never going to choose anybody over the Rams. It sounded like that. And that's kind of the vibe I got, watching, Sean McVay in the press conference and, just the way he was speaking on it, it just didn't seem like he was a guy that they're going to lose. So really excited to have him with the Rams. If you're as happy as I am, be sure to hit the like button, thumbs up, whatever you want to call it, on the video. That would be great. But this is done, folks. Wagner's a Ram. Aaron Donald, Cooper Kupp are going to get their contracts soon. Sean McVay and Les Snead are going to get contract extensions soon. So, pretty big deal, And actually, Charlie, you're right, because he was cut, so he wouldn't count against the formula. But anyway, my point is that when they went out and they signed Allen Robinson, that was them not really caring about the formula either, because he does count against it. They won't get the Von Miller pick because of it. But I just, when you get a 5th rounder, there's not really much to really care about, But, I mean, let's talk about it. Let's talk about what this does to the Rams, because, this is interesting. This is a defense like one we haven't really seen before at the Rams, because we haven't seen this level of talent at inside linebacker. So, it's definitely, I'm a little surprised it's a 5-year deal, but like I said, I'm not expecting it to be a 5-year deal. I'm expecting it to have some void years, and numbers are really going to be interesting on this one. But let's talk about the defense right now. So, with Sebastian Joseph Day gone and Darius Williams and some other guys, right now, A'Shawn Robinson, Greg Gaines, Aaron Donald make up your trenches. You have, obvious depth there with 4th round pick Bobby Brown the third. You have Ernest Brown the 4th, who you drafted. Jonah Williams and Marquise Copeland, as well as Michael Hoyt. I think those guys are going to battle. They really like Copeland and his development. Obviously, Bobby Brown the third, they have high hopes for. So that's a really good look at the defensive line. I think you have a lot of potential there, a lot of upside. And so I think the Rams have to feel good about that. You move on to the outside linebacker spot. They didn't grab an outside linebacker here, but I still think the outside linebackers are pretty good for the Rams, despite the fact they lost Von Miller. You talk about having, Terrell Lewis and, all sorts of guys, Leonard Floyd and, Chris Garrett. And, I mean, Okoronkwo's gone, but, I really am high on Justin Hollins. So on top of it, you can make the argument Ernest Brown the fourth is kind of an outside linebacker as well. So, you have that there. Maybe you go out, you get another outside linebacker, whether it be in the draft or free agency, maybe two, because you do want to have that rotation healthy. But I actually don't mind the idea of, Chris Garrett getting more of an opportunity, or Terrell Lewis. If he can stay healthy, Lewis can play. And then on top of that, Hollins was playing some great football before he got hurt. Then you look at inside linebacker. Now this is really intriguing because now it's Ernest Jones, it's Bobby Wagner, and it's Traven Howard and Christian Roseboom. And Roseboom's your special teams guy. Traven Howard has made some big plays and big moments, including, the game-sealing play in the NFC title game against the Niners. But on top of that, you have Ernest Jones, who just played in a Super Bowl, a second-year linebacker that looks above and beyond what I even expected. So there's a lot of good stuff there. And then now we're talking about Bobby Wagner, who for a while, I'd say over the last 10 years, he was top 3 in the league at linebacker. I'd say he was the best for a little bit. So, the inside linebackers look great. Corner, right now it's Ramsey, it's David Long, it's, Robert Rochelle. Dante Dion is a free agent, and then you have some other guys, Grant Haley, Tyler Hall, and Kareem Orr. I would imagine that they're going to address the cornerback position in the draft. And then the safety spot, a lot of depth there, but the question is, it's, what are you making of it? Because you have Jordan Fuller coming off a serious ankle injury. He'll be back. Taylor Rapp, who, hasn't been able to stay healthy, and one could argue he's a little bit of a liability in coverage. Then you have Nick Scott, the 7th rounder in 2019. We've seen some incredible stuff out of, Terrell Burgess, obviously, 3rd round pick in his own right at, in the 2020 draft. This is somebody that I think is going to be very good when he gets the full-on opportunity. But then you have, Jake Gervais, however you say his name. So safety, they could use another guy. And I know there's people like, well, is Tyrann Mathieu next? I won't say anybody's next until we know more, because right now, the Rams, we have to wait until we see the number. But right now, the Rams would have spent pretty much all their cap money that they have remaining on this contract if it's just a base 5-year, $50 million deal. That's $10 million each year. That would put them in the negative. So obviously we need to wait. Cooper Kupp is getting an extension at some point. Aaron Donald is going to get his extension at some point. So we need to find out how much money that's going to save the Rams. I wouldn't rule out, I would not rule out the Rams going after a Gilmore or a Tyrann Mathieu, but that's how I'm seeing as of right now. So let's see. Okay. Trying to find if we have any. So 65 million. It's worth up to 65 million with incentives on the agreement. I don't see any details on the contract, so we all know the 5-year deal. I mean, that's them spreading it out. So I mean, it's not. I don't think he plays 5 years, but I don't know because I haven't seen it yet. So I mean, it could be different, But yeah, I know people are really happy. I mean, it's about time, right? We've been hearing this news for a while. Immediately I thought the Rams would be interested. Bobby Wagner's too good of a talent, even if he wasn't a need. I feel like the Rams had that internal discussion about him. Once you have that, you go through the film, you try to see if this makes any sense, and when you find out it does make sense, you're a little taken back, you're blown away. You're like, oh, wow, well, if it's going to be this big of a deal, and this is going to really take our defense to the next level, then I'm all for it. And I think that's really the process that the Rams went through, is that they just, they went through the whole deal, and they're like, well, what does Bobby Wagner bring to our defense? And is he such an upgrade that he basically replaces Von Miller? And I mean, I have to say a little bit, this is somebody that had over 170 tackles last year. He's a tackling machine. He is good in coverage. He didn't have his best year in coverage last year. But he's just a very athletic linebacker, sideline to sideline. Love that Wagner is going to be a Ram. he was going to be a Ram, and then the Seahawks drafted him before the Rams could. They actually called him and said that they were drafting him back in the day, and he got picked before them. So, I guess justice. I mean, he's 32 now, but, they finally got him. Now, I mean, what comes next? Is there anything done this offseason for the defense? I think if there's anything, it's going to be a Stephon Gilmore, AJ Boye, or Tyrann Mathieu signing. I think if they do anything in free agency, that's what it will be. But if they don't do that, don't be surprised if they're drafting some cornerback depth. They're going to give Rochelle a bigger role this year. They're going to give David Long a bigger role this year, and that's them buying into what they already have. I don't see too many needs on the defense, but I think if you go out and you get Tyrann Mathieu, this guy can play safety, he can play corner, he can play boundary, he can play nickel. He gives you options. So could see them for that reason getting him. Defensive IQ. I mean, I just feel like we're talking about a guy in Bobby Wagner that has been a captain of defenses in the past that have transcended football. I mean, just think about the Legion of Boom when that first started, that first came out, that first was a thing. Bobby Wagner was the captain of that defense. He was the guy inside. He was calling it. I mean, he's very smart, very intelligent. It's not hard to see why the Rams would want to bring him in. So, yeah, great mentor to Ernest Jones as well. I've been seeing that a lot. But, I mean, this makes a lot of sense for the Rams, and I think this defense just got scary, like really scary, because the idea of having – I don't care if he's 32. Wagner didn't fall, flat on his face. I still think he's a top linebacker in the league. But now you have Wagner, you have Donald, you have Ramsey. I mean, at what point do you just look at it and be like, wow, the Rams are once again stacked, and it doesn't seem like they've really lost a ton. And that's kind of where I'm going with it here, because, the big issue with repeating is the idea of bringing everyone back and not being as good when other teams make moves and get better. Well, the Rams are not doing that. They're not making the same moves. They're not bringing the same guys back. They did lose Austin Corbett, but they're going to have Coleman Shelton likely play right guard, and that's a promotion for him. And then you look at, they let Von Miller go, or Von Miller chose over them, and it really surprised them. They really felt like they were the favorite for Von. But anyway, now you get Bobby Wagner. You replace an outside linebacker, elite outside linebacker with an elite inside linebacker. Okay, but, you lose Darius Williams. They'll replace him in the draft. I think, if anything, Darius Williams is getting replaced by guys already on the roster. Feel probably good about that at that point. Receiver, I mean, as sad as it is to say, you could say, well, what about Robert Woods? He's gone. Who's going to replace him? They diversify the receiver room, and they get a guy that can play above the rim in Allen Robinson. So this team, nothing changed. I mean, obviously stuff changed, but I would argue they're better than last year. Just make sure that you can bring back OBJ, and they don't really need to do anything, That's the crazy thing. The Rams don't have to do anything. Okay, they're good. They can win a Super Bowl with this roster. But if they go out and get Gilmore or Mathieu, just saying. Yeah, this is a big deal. I was a little surprised. I'm not going to lie. Not that he went there, that it was such a big deal. That it was a 5-year, $50 million deal. And like I said, we need to know the numbers. It's not necessarily guaranteed that those are the numbers, but very intriguing. Yeah, so whenever the official numbers come out, that's what we'll have to discuss, because that's a big deal to me. I want to know what the official numbers are before we get really into the 5-year deal of things. So that is that's something. I mean, just think about this. I know a lot of people hate on Troy Reeder, but now all of a sudden, those plays where Troy Reeder was in on defense, it's instead going to either be Ernest Jones or Bobby Wagner. It's not bad. Honey Badger went to the Saints just now. I didn't see anything about it. I'm looking. I'm not seeing anything. Are you sure? No. He didn't go to the Saints. He's a free agent. No, they're not getting Reader to come back as a pass rusher. I saw that one article. That's not what happened. That's not what's gonna happen. That's entirely false. Troy Reader's an inside linebacker. I understand a lot of people don't like him. I do personally. But I think he's not coming back, and if he does, he's not coming back as just a pure pass rusher. That's just not happening. Doesn't fit his play style at all. Yeah, no, I'm very happy about Bobby Wagner, and I'm also a big fan of his. I mean, he's one of my favorites, from any rival team. Pretty easy to like. Likable guy on the Seahawks. Yeah, now bring him on down. He gets to play the Seahawks twice. So that's kind of cool, Yes, Adam. Yes, the Rams got Bobby Wagner. 5 years, $50 million. We'll have to know the exact number for each year, the details on the contract numbers, but that's what we're dealing with right now. So, like I said, big move for the Rams. It's a big deal, and I can't stress enough. I love the idea of being this aggressive and going out and getting a player like that. He's just a different animal. Going out and getting a Bobby Wagner, it's just all different. But, I knew he was going to the Rams. We'll see if they end up getting Honey Badger, Gilmore, Boye, or anybody. But I would not rule out the Rams being done this offseason. I wouldn't rule out them not being done. I mean, I still think, there's still plenty left on the table. They could make a trade for a James Bradbury even, with the Giants. There's a lot of different ways that they could go. So, what number will he wear? Good question. I don't really know. I could see 45. I could see 9 because he wore 9 in college or whatever. Yeah, I guess I'm not really sure. Either one wouldn't surprise me. All right, so we are over 400 views. It's been a lot of fun so far. Be sure to hit the thumbs up and like this video. So, yeah, Stafford's 9, so he wouldn't be 9. But you get my point. Is that there's different numbers that he will likely choose between. Maybe 6. Who knows? I don't know if he's gonna care that much about wearing number 54. We'll see. But yeah, guys, be sure to hit the thumbs up, like button. If you're on mobile, just back out of the live chat and just hit the button. It really does help me out. Helps out the algorithm as well. We're at 142 likes. Let's get this thing going. Well, I think the bigger signing is Wagner. Because Wagner's something that... Actually, what's funny? You could argue both signings the Rams had are guys that they've never had before. They've never had that type of guy before. So that's certainly something. They've never had a big-bodied receiver like Allen Robinson, and they've never had an inside linebacker with the capabilities that Bobby Wagner has. So this offseason has been transformative, if you want to say that, because I would really argue it has. So, also, folks, be sure to subscribe if you haven't already. Appreciate you subscribing, Torrance. I don't think they'll move Jones to Vaughn's position. They'll keep Jones at inside linebacker. No sense in moving him to outside because it's a completely different role. Yeah, I mean, people say the cap's fake, but, you know, we won't know what the actual number breakdown it is. And the Rams know how to get this stuff done without sacrificing cap space. So, obviously, you use cap space. I'm not saying that you can get away without using it, but they'll use it in a way, they'll structure this deal in a way that doesn't kill them, essentially. So, yeah, at least now we won't have let's see. Odell might not sign while hurt. I could see that. They're considering a multi-year deal for Odell. I think the contract might have void years. Yeah, I do. You would imagine. Should be a lot better against the run. I don't see them extending Ashawn. I think he'll play the end of the year, and that'll be it. But I wouldn't be surprised if they do extend Greg Gaines. So I wouldn't rule against that. I wouldn't rule that out. I'm feeling good. I'm feeling good about it. You know, I think this is a good move. Obviously, this is something that I've wanted, something that I've been told was going to happen. So I'm glad it did. Um, and I'm just excited that hopefully this kind of gets the ball rolling. You know, I just feel like this gets the ball rolling. Whether they go out and get Gilmore or they go out and they get Matthew or whoever, this gets the ball rolling on the next step in free agency, offseason, whatever. But now I have some clarity. I have some clarity with the draft. So, moving forward, I think now I can start getting into the mock drafts for the Rams because even if they do get Stephon Gilmore or whatever, I still think they draft another corner. Even though they got Bobby Wagner, I still kind of feel like they draft another linebacker just to kind of shore up that depth, maybe get a guy that might make sense long term. DeMarco Jackson at App State, first one that comes to mind, like third, fourth round. So I wouldn't rule that out. I just, that's kind of where I'm at right now. I'm not sure exactly how to feel as far as what comes next because I think there's the myriad of things that are to come. But that's how I look at that as far as that goes. Is that I feel like now with the Rams mock draft, even though I waited and I said I was going to wait before something happened or whatever, I wasn't going to do it until something happened. I'm sitting here kind of thinking the Rams might still draft corner. They might still draft inside linebacker. Maybe I shouldn't wait because I feel like this is a team that's drafting for depth and not necessarily starters. So I think that changes, who you would expect them to go after. I think cornerback makes a lot of sense, regardless if they get Gilmore or not. I also think getting another linebacker makes sense, for depth purposes. I think getting another receiver may not if they bring back Odell, but if they don't bring back Odell, maybe they do get another receiver. Running back, I think makes sense. Get a goal line guy. I would be okay with that. Quarterback, I don't really see the point, but if they liked a quarterback in this draft, one fell to them, maybe they would do that. Tight end, I mean, it feels pretty good there. I don't really like any of the tight ends enough to go after them. I don't think the value will be there, so not necessarily obviously adding some offensive line depth. Maybe even a competition for Coleman Shelton at right guard, and then defensive line. I mean, I think I like their defense line. Maybe they go defensive line. Another linebacker seems likely. Another corner seems likely. Outside linebacker, I think, becomes the biggest need. Just because Hollins is done after this season on his contract. We'll see if they bring him back or not. Terrell Lewis has, injury issues, and if he doesn't get up to speed, then he's going to be a bust. That's just what's going to happen. And then Chris Garrett, of course, who I like a lot, is a second-year guy out of the 7th round, hoping to develop him. If they don't, they'd like another guy. To me, there's one edge defender I really want, and that is D'Angelo Malone. Out of where totally forgot where he went to school. I'm gonna put that up right now because he went to school. I almost said Western Kentucky. Anyway, yeah, Western Kentucky. I really like D'Angelo Malone. I think that guy might make sense for the Rams. I think that would probably be the best course of action. Could see them drafting really anybody in this draft. I think that's another thing when you're talking about the Rams. They're not a team that, again, they're not drafting for need. They're drafting for depth. They're drafting for the long term, and I think that's something that needs to be said. But, we'll see. I'll be doing those soon, though. I think we'll do a Rams-centric mock draft soon, where I, kind of like last year, I unveiled the guys that I felt made sense, and I did a nice little graphic show, whatever. Someone said BPA. Yeah, I'm not against best player available. That's normally where I lean. But, if I decide, hey, maybe we do a community one. I don't know. But I definitely want to do one, at least, in the coming days, I want to say. If anyone's interested in that. I mean, outside linebackers remaining, everyone's going to say Jadeveon Clowney. That's pretty much it. So that's pretty much it. But, yeah. Looks like Malone's pro day was today. I was tagged in it, so I can see that now. I'd like to see his RAS score if possible. Thank you for subscribing, Johnny. Appreciate you. All right. Nope, I don't see his scores anywhere. Oh, well. Yeah, exactly, Michael. They finally went out and they got an inside linebacker that can really take command, I think. Aaron Donald, slam the like button, everyone. Just don't hurt your computer or phone. Appreciate it. Yeah, we're at 203 likes. We got almost 450 people live. Just be sure to hit the like button. Like I said, it goes a long way. We're over 2,000 views. We've only been streaming for a little bit over 30 minutes, so that's, obviously love there. Thumper. Yeah, and he's more than that, but I totally hear you. He's going to be great against the run. And this makes sense, too, when you let a guy like Sebastian Joseph Daly, who's that good, at stopping the run. I think it makes sense. Who knows if Debo's going to even be on the 49ers, to be honest with you. I'm not really convinced that Debo Samuel is going to be with the Niners when the season starts. What I'm hearing, it sounds like he might get traded. They don't want to pay him. I think that's the problem. Like, you look at the contract with Christian Kirk, it kind of changed the game for everyone. A lot of receivers don't feel respected now because they're getting paid less than Christian Kirk. Like, I mean, that's just the way it is. So. I definitely think we can all agree if he's not the best linebacker in a long time, then he's definitely the best linebacker in a Rams uniform since London Fletcher. So, I think we can all agree on that. Not sure if they'll get Gilmore or not. They could. They could very well get Gilmore. They could get Tyrann Mathieu. They could, but like I said, for that domino to fall, we need other things to be exposed. Like, we need to know. Basically, we need to know, Donald's contract, because Donald's contract's going to open up some salary cap space. Cooper Kupp's contract, which will also open up salary cap space. But, I mean, we need to know that. We need to know the details. We need to know how much his Wagner deal will be, his cap hit will be in 2022 before we start saying, oh, yeah, they need to get this guy and this guy and this guy, Laurinaitis was great. Pisa Tino Isamoa was great. But you guys have to realize, Bobby Wagner's a different animal. Bobby Wagner, for the last 10 years, there have been more years in the last 10 years where he's been the best linebacker than ones where he hasn't been. He's been the best linebacker in the league consistently for a minute now. So I don't think you can say that about Laurinaitis. Real question, is there any way you can hurry up time so we can see the Rams again? Nope. Matthew. Jack's opened up a can of worms. Yeah, it's true. Thank you for donating, by the way. Appreciate you. Coach did not like what I had to say. We are not training Debo. Did you not see what Jed York said? He put up a picture of Will Smith slapping Chris Rock about thinking they will trade Debo. Yeah, I don't trust Jed York. That dude, he does not know how to own a team, so I don't trust him. But anyway, if they do trade Debo, that'll be hilarious. I saw that the Jets are interested. Who knows? You're gonna have to pay him though. Make no mistake about it. He's gonna want his money. So if you don't pay him, then you're probably gonna have to trade him. We saw it with Tyreek Hill. We'll continue to see it. Devontae Adams. Maybe even happens with Stephon Diggs. Who knows? But I just know it's not going to happen with Cooper Kupp. So they're good on that front. Yeah, what a day, though, right? They waited until Thursday to announce. Pretty big deal, though. Pretty big deal. Indeed. Ernest Jones is on his way to being the best linebacker the Rams have drafted since London Fletcher. I mean, he's really far ahead of where I expected him to be. Yeah, I mean, I just look at all these teams and I'm like, is there anyone in the NFC that can really beat the Rams? I don't know. I don't think there is at this moment in time. I just don't. I think the AFC has some teams. I still think the Rams are the best team. But well, yeah, I mean, I'm not going to sit here and lie to you, coach. I would love if Debo Samuel wasn't a Niner anymore. That'd be great. I don't think it would make any sense to not pay him, but if they didn't, that would be awesome. I would enjoy that. Wow, over 500 views, folks. Are you happy about Bobby Wagner or what? Damn. 5-year, $50 million deal. Bobby Wagner is a Los Angeles Ram. Yeah, I guess we'll find out. I don't think it took that long for Allen Robinson to have a number. So we found out during the same stream. It's only 4 o'clock, and here we are dropping news and knowledge like this. Pretty crazy. I also think the thing I've been seeing, the disclaimer on Bobby Wagner, is that it's this idea that he's completely lost a step. He's not the same linebacker. He played on a bad Seahawks defense. And now you're talking about him going to a situation where he's playing for Raheem Morris. He's going to be with guys like Ernest Jones and Aaron Donald and Jalen Ramsey and Greg Gaines. And I mean, all those guys. Leonard Floyd. I mean, I don't know about you, but I feel like he is going to get a lot better with the Rams defense than he would be with the, Seahawks defense, so to speak. That's just me. Losing my voice now. Awesome. Just a thought, but the 49ers will beat you guys with Bobby and with Jimmy G. No. No. That curse has been broken. That loop has been broken, coach. That's not happening. It's just not. Remember when the 49ers thought that they were going to get like a second rounder for Jimmy Garoppolo? That was fun. Now they're stuck with him. They're talking about the Rams cap space because anytime the Rams make a move, it's always the same thing where people say, "Oh my God, how can they do that?" Cap space is the allotted amount of money that one has to spend on free agency, on contracts, on trades, things like that. So you have to stay below the cap space threshold. Because if you don't, you go over it, then it's not a valid roster, and you have to make room in the cap space to allow it to be a valid roster. So a lot of people just throw cap space out there and say, how can the Rams do this? They have no cap space. Or, wow, the Rams literally don't care about cap space. They do. They just do it creatively. They do it differently than most teams out there, and that's why that they have an opportunity to do the stuff that they do. They've brought a lot to the table. Void years. They've brought, the signing bonus and using the signing bonus to their advantage. They brought restructures. They've brought, like, reworking of contracts. They do so much, and there's stuff that I don't even know about that they do. Just only the stuff that is public that I'm talking about. But, that's why everyone talks about cap space. Yeah, Stan, he's a Ram. Profit right again. You're welcome. Yeah, well, I was right too. I don't know, guys. I just felt like, Wagner the whole time. And what I was being told is that he was zeroing in on LA, and all these people were saying, oh my God, you led us astray. He's going to go to the Ravens. And then he didn't go to the Ravens. He went to the Rams like I said he would. Just takes patience, just takes patience. But only one game out of 6, and you guys broke something. That's funny, my dude. Well, when you think about that one game, that was just one game. That one game is the reason you didn't go to the Super Bowl. So I think it definitely broke a curse there. Anyway, I don't think... What I've noticed is that I don't think Rams fans really care. Because the NFC West, the Rams are either going to play their game, no one's going to stop them, or they're going to have a tough year with injuries, or they're going to have a tough year in general, for whatever reason. And that's the only way that they're not going to win the NFC West. They have the NFC West locked up. They're the best team there. Arizona, I don't even see as that much of a threat, but I think that they're the best team. Yeah, I don't personally care. As an NFL fan, I care. I care about every team, but as a Rams fan, no, I don't. That too. The Rams have won the West 3 of the last 5 years. Exactly. What will Rams' record be having a tough schedule? I think they win 13. 13 games, I'd probably say, maybe 14. It's kind of like the idea. That's kind of where I'm seeing it. So, I want to hear from you. From 1 to 10, 1 being the worst trade you've ever seen, or, the worst decision you've ever seen, and 10 being the best. How would you rate not only the Bobby Wagner signing, but the full Bobby Wagner deal? 5 years, $50 million, getting Wagner when you already have Ernest Jones. What are you going to rate that? Ray the King, thank you so much for donating. Brady, the only competition. Rodgers, trash without Adams. Guess we'll find out. But yeah, drop a number below. Let me know. Got a 9, a 10, a 9, a 10 out of 10, a 1, 0, a 9, 10, 8, 3. Interesting. Do you think we have enough? Not at the moment. I think cap space will be released once, Donald is, of course, signed and Cup is signed. But Ortiz, 9. Jazz flew 8.5, 8.5, 11 out of 10, 9, 8, 9, 10, 10, 8, 7, 8, 9.99, 7, 110, 6.75, 9. Do we go OBJ, cornerback, or outside linebacker next? I would assume OBJ is also coming soon, so we'll see. 8, 10, a lot of percent. 7, home run, 99, 9, 9, 9, 8.5, 12, 10, glad he is there. 5. Yeah, so that is everyone there. Also, guys, I have a Discord for the channel. If you guys are interested, I'm going to drop an invite in the comments section. It's free, by the way. There it is. So go and join that. We have 429 people. It would be awesome to get to 500. But yeah, hit that link, join it. It's free. It's basically for the YouTube JE live community, and got a lot of great people in there. So be sure to check that out. And I already see 2 people join, so yes, join that if you're interested in pretty much a 24/7 live chat. Let's see. Hey Jake, any thoughts on Hecker's replacement? Not really. I kind of feel like they should just go after Bajorquez. We'll see who they go with, but I'm not really as worried as most people are. Not necessarily worried about, like, because I know a lot of people want Ariza. I don't care that much about a prospect that's a punter. I'm sure he's good, but I also like the other guy as well. So I'm not too worried about punter, to be honest with you. Yeah, I think the Steelers are interested in Honey Badger. Oh, yeah, but I don't think Westish, keep in mind, I don't think Ernest Jones gets demoted. I think the Rams are just going to change what they do on the defensive side, and they're going to use some inside linebacker help a little bit more than they normally do. Normally they play with, nickel. So they'll have 1 linebacker, they'll have 3 safeties, 2 corners, whatever. I think now that they'll run a little bit, less than that. Rams Twitter just posted a picture of Gilmore. What? What are you talking about? What holes do I see on the team? I mean, I don't think that there are any like true holes on this team right now. I think you could argue going out and getting a corner, going out and getting an outside linebacker, but this is still a Super Bowl winning team in my opinion. I still think that they would win the Super Bowl the way it is. So, you know, I don't think it's like a team that has a bunch of holes, if that makes sense. Yeah, Greg gains the like button. Thank you, Nolan. I can't believe we got over 500 views. I mean, that has happened before in the history of the channel. It just doesn't happen all the time, especially because this is like midday. What's up, Nolan? We're doing well. We're doing well. Here we go. Yeah, I think the offense is going to be different. I think it's going to be hard to stop with Allen Robinson. I really think the offense is going to be different. Yes, hit the like button, please. We got 283 likes. Let's get it up. Thumbs up that thing. On a scale of 1 to 10, are you confident Chris Garrett can replace Vaughn in that position? On a scale of 1 to 10, I'm probably a 2. It's not that Chris Garrett can't play in this league. It's that I don't necessarily want to put that much pressure on him to replace Von Miller. Let's see. Rams willing to pay a lot more than the Ravens, which is really interesting. Let's see. They could bring back Dante Dion. I'm not ruling that out. They definitely could. We just got over 300 likes. Let's keep it going. Let's see if we can get to 400. Steve, thank you for subscribing, as well as Clifton. Appreciate you guys. Jake, do you think Bobby can cover Kittle across the middle now with Brandon Ayuk going in the slot and Ray McLeod going outside with speed with Debo? I mean, I would assume he can do it to a degree, but I mean the Rams, they like mixing things up. I mean with Kittle, they have safeties for that. They have Jordan Fuller. They have Nick Scott. I mean, that's probably where they'll go. They also didn't really utilize Kittle as much as they have in the past, so we'll see. But the Worm, thank you for donating. Appreciate you. Speaking of the offense being different, are you really confident in our backup quarterbacks? Thanks for the great content. Absolutely. And I am confident in the backup quarterbacks. I think John Wolford is, kind of given a bad rep because he comes in when the game's already a blowout and, he threw an interception against the Giants and he really just hands the ball off. But I think if push came to shove and he had to play an actual game in the NFL, we've already seen him do it. When he got comfortable against the Cardinals, he was hard to stop. And he didn't have a bad start to the game against Seattle in the playoffs before getting hurt. So, I think that they would be able to trust him as well as Bryce Perkins, who I think is only going to develop more, with these guys around him. And, I like Perkins a lot, so I think they have those two guys. I will say, though, like, there's a bias in me that, like, if the Rams had an opportunity to go out and get Kyle Sloter, who is going to start for the New Orleans Breakers in the USFL, the same way they got John Wolford from the AAF, I'd be all for it. I think, he already knows John Gruden's offense, which is kind of what the Rams are running. Although it might be a little bit different this year, but, it's a stem of what the Rams are running. And so It's a really complicated offense to learn, and the fact that he already knows it, has that dual threat ability. He's 6'5". You know, he's fast. I mean, I don't know, big arm. I'd be for it, but yeah, I feel fine about the backups. Great question though. Yeah, I could see Jones actually covering Kittle. That's a good point. Could see that. I'm not necessarily saying to draft the punter though. No. What's up, Alec? Yeah, yeah. I'm really hyped. We're at 314 likes. If we could get to 400, that would be awesome. Let's see. I think Trey Sermon is going to play a big part this year in his second year with Eli Mitchell. That can be a dangerous offense. I hope so. I was pissed they got Sermon and then didn't use him. I'm a big Trey Sermon fan. So hopefully they utilize him. I got him in Dynasty. So, you know. If Stafford goes down, do you really think Wolfman is the man? Well, I mean, if Stafford goes down, now John Wolford would be left with that offensive line. He'd be left with his mobility, the running backs, Cooper Kupp, Allen Robinson. I'm not saying he'd have as good of a year as Stafford, but let's not act like he wouldn't have enough weapons to succeed and get some wins under his belt. You know, it's another thing. We judge guys like Perkins because, oh well, he's playing in preseason. That's the only opportunity he's gotten, and Perkins has only been throwing. Because if you want to say, oh, it's just preseason, then you also need to be, have that same attitude because he's throwing in preseason, which means he's not throwing number one, number two receivers, number one, number two tight ends, or even handing it off to a number one, number two running back, or being protected by a number one, number two offensive line. He's playing with a bunch of third stringers, and most of those guys don't even make the roster. So you got to be fair. On one hand, yeah, I get it. It's preseason. On the other, he's playing around guys that he wouldn't play around with if, he ended up being the backup. If he had to take over for an injured Stafford or whatever, he would be thrown in there and he'd be throwing those guys. He'd be throwing a cup. He'd be throwing to Allen Robinson. So, yeah. I'm really curious though now what comes next. Because I would not, like I said, I would not rule out Gilmore. OBJ is a priority. Aaron Donald, Cooper Kupp extensions are priorities. McVay and Snead. I think the Rams could get Matthew, but I don't know. I'm surprised. I really thought I thought the Bobby Wagner deal was going to be like a 1-year deal. To see it end up being 5 years, that's saying something. He's going to retire a Ram in all likelihood. Think about how pissed off Seahawks fans are going to be when they see that. I don't necessarily think they're done. You keep talking about this Twitter post. Oh, man. Yet, the Rams are still going to free up some money when they sign Aaron Donald and Cooper Kupp, so keep that in mind. Oh, they did post that. Yeah, okay, I see you. Bobby Wagner, Jadeveon Clowney, Melvin Ingram, Stephon Gilmore, Bryce Callahan, Kevin King. I don't want Kevin King. He's coming off hip, knee injuries. He's had a rough time isolated in coverage. Obviously, 6'3", 200 pounds. Like, looks great, right? That's awesome to have a towering corner. He's not great. I'll tell you that right now. Callahan would be kind of fun to see. Callahan would be a good nickel. You know, he has familiarity with this defense. And then Gilmore is just, I mean, he's just different, man. Gilmore would be having another Bobby Wagner like piece, but having it at cornerback. That's an elite player. You know, that's something. So, Gilmore would slide in, 31 years old, take over at corner. You have then either David Long or Robert Rochelle operating as the nickel, the other guy operating as the backup. Gilmore and Ramsey becomes nasty. Melvin Ingram is on this list, but Melvin Ingram doesn't fit what they do. I just don't think he'd be a good fit for them. Jadeveon Clowney, he's 29. I get it. You know, he had a good year last year. It's his best season since 2018. I don't know. Maybe they could go after him, and then, you know, they already got Bobby Wagner from this article. So, yeah, I mean, could Gilmore be next? I didn't even mention Tyrann Mathieu, so, you know, maybe that's not the case, but Gilmore and Wagner, and all of a sudden they just absolutely dominated the offseason. Talk about bringing Gilmore and Wagner and Allen Robinson. Jeez. Like, that's just... And there are a bunch of guys that, like, the Rams normally don't go after. That's the thing. You know? Just think about it. Man. Just crazy. It is real. It is real. Bobby Wagner is a Ram. Michael, draft stream is coming soon. So tomorrow, here's how it's going to go. Tomorrow around noon, I'm going to have my guy from Sports Grid TV on, Ben Stevens. I've been on his show before. So I'm going to have him on. We're going to talk about the Final Four. He's an analyst of college basketball, knows a lot more about college basketball than I do. So I'm excited to talk to him about the Duke-UNC matchup in Kansas-Villanova. So we'll have that for about 30 minutes, do a show on the Final Four. I figured I'm going to do at least one show on college basketball. So that's coming tomorrow around noontime Eastern time. So be sure to check that out. So that is the next plan. Alexis and I still have plenty of interviews down the pipeline. I'll be dropping another interview a little bit later on. So there's that. And then we're probably going to, I don't know, we'll have our mock Rams draft next week, if that works. Maybe Monday. So a lot planned. And for those of you who want a gaming fix, I do plan on getting back onto the gaming streams consistently. We'll see how it goes. But I do plan on playing some Elden Ring, maybe some God of War, what have you. But that's pretty much how that's going to go. The draft, I believe it's at the end of April. So, we'll see. But Jake, your thoughts on fullbacks in the draft? I'll be honest with you, I don't know anything about the fullbacks in the draft. Because the Rams once drafted a guy, what the hell was his name? I don't remember his name. They drafted a fullback who was the best fullback in the draft, and then they didn't use him. So I'm going to be honest with you. I don't think the Rams are going to draft the fullback. I think the fullback position is relatively dead. Sam Rodgers, that's who it was, yes. So I don't really see it being a big deal, but well, thank you, Michael. I try. So, yeah, next week you can expect a Rams-centric mock draft. It will just be the Rams, but I think it's going to be Monday that will do it. Yeah, I'll say Monday, but I'm excited for it. I have some ideas of where I'm going to go. We're not going to do it now. It is Thursday. I could do it a little bit later tomorrow as well. We'll see. But keep a lookout for that on the channel. Be sure to subscribe if you haven't already. Be sure to hit the like button if you haven't already. Looks like we do have bit of likes here. We have, what, 353? If we could get up to 400, that would be awesome. But I am out of here. I hope you guys enjoyed. It's been a lot of fun. Obviously, this is great news. Love to be able to come on here and talk about great news. I went a little dark because there really wasn't much being talked about, so this is awesome. But appreciate you guys so much for spending some time on a Thursday with me. It's not even 5 p.m. yet on the East Coast, so we got plenty of day left. I could go live again. We'll see if anything goes on. I'll be monitoring, but you guys take care, enjoy your day, and I will see you guys soon. Be sure to check out my Final Four breakdown tomorrow with Ben Stevens of Sports Grid TV. Until next time, I'll see you guys later. Be good people.